All right. Have you ever stopped yourself from saying what you're really feeling because you weren't sure how your spouse would respond? Or maybe you found yourself walking on eggshells, carefully choosing your words, trying to avoid another argument. Every marriage longs for love, but love flourishes best when there's emotional safety. Today's guest believes that emotional safety isn't something that simply happens, it's something couples intentionally create. And when it's missing, communication breaks down, trust begins to erode, and connection suffers. Stay with us because today's conversation may change the way you build trust, the way you communicate, and the way you love your spouse. Welcome to the Stronger, Deeper Marriage Show, where we believe stronger marriages begin with real conversations. I'm Lucille Reddic, the harmony expert. I've been married for over 41 years, and I'm passionate about helping couples create marriages filled with peace, purpose, and passion through intentional communication, emotional connection, and faith centered relationships. Join me, Joining me is my amazing co host, Pata Hall. Pata?
Thank you, Lucille. Again, I am Pata Hall, founder and CEO of True Pata Wellness. I am a wellness warrior. My work is rooted in helping people care for their bodies, protect their hearts, and live with greater purpose, strength, and intention. I've been married for 39 years. Every healthy marriage is built on trust, respect, and emotional well being. When couples feel emotionally safe, they're more likely to communicate honestly, work through conflict in healthy ways, and grow stronger together. On this show, I just bring a wellness perspective to the conversation because strong marriages are not just built through communication and commitment, they're also supported by faith, emotional health, physical well being, and the daily choices we make to show up whole. I'm so excited to learn practical ways we can all become safer, healthier partners.
Mm.
Love that. Love that. Thank you, Pata. So
You're welcome.
today's guest I'm so excited to talk to is Ralphe Jean-Poix, a leadership development consultant, coach, and speaker who is passionate about helping people build stronger relationships through intentional leadership communication. Through his signature CARE framework, Ralph equips leaders to influence with purpose because he believes leadership is a decision, not simply a position. Ralph has been happily married to his wife, Chapette, for 10 years. Their story began with friendship after meeting at a holiday gathering. And over time, that friendship blossomed into a thriving marriage. Together, they're raising two beautiful children, Cameron and Rianne. I hope I'm
Rian.
saying Rianne.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rian. You got it. You got it.
And they serve side by side, leading the marriage ministry at their local church, helping couples build marriages that thrive, not just survive. One of my favorite things that Ralph says is that marriage is the union of two servants trying to outdo one another in serving each other. I absolutely love that perspective.
Wow.
Yeah.
Today, he's joining us to discuss a topic every married couple needs: emotional safety, the foundation of every strong marriage. Ralph, welcome to the Stronger, Deeper Marriage Show.
Thank you. Thank
Welcome.
you. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you both.
Did I leave anything out, Ralph?
No, no, you spot on. Perfect.
All right,
As
fantastic.
expected.
Well, I always try. Well, I'm going to start like I start here recently with every uh, guest that we have. It's called our marriage snapshot. So
Okay.
this is built to last about 2 or 3 minutes or whatever. But give me
Let's do it.
one word that describes your marriage journey.
Oh, my marriage journey. Learning. Learning.
Learning.
Learning.
Okay. And why did you choose that word?
Because I think it's continuity. I know people say all the time that the person you married 10 years ago is not the same person now. They're not supposed to do. And so I
Exactly.
take pride in learning the different aspects of my wife and her interests now. And here's what I tell people all the time: her core values don't change, but her preferences will change. And so I'm
Mm.
learning some of her new preferences, and she's learning some of our new preferences. So I think if we're committed to learning each other, then we'll be committed to serving one another.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And then the last one of this snapshot question is, what's one lesson marriage has taught you that has stayed with you?
Ooh, so many lessons, Miss Lucille?
I
So
know,
many
I
lessons,
know,
Miss
just
Pata.
all
Pick
good.
one. Pick
Just
one.
pick
One.
one.
If I could pick one lesson, I think I would say, man, people don't change because you want them to. People change because they realize it's necessary and it's part of the journey that we are part of. Like, so I can't make my wife the person I want her to be, because before she was mine, she's first and foremost God's child. So
Yes.
like when we came into the marriage, there's things I'm like, man, why she don't do such and such this way, or why she doesn't do such and such like me. And I had to learn that, part of us serving one another is also using our own means and capacity and capability to be able to do so. So it's selfish of me to say that she needs to do this thing the way that I would do it. Then I'm actually eroding at her identity. And so I've had to learn, man, there's certain things that my wife is just going to do it differently. There's certain things I'm going to do it differently. But when we bring those differences together, we can find that harmony and that wellness. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
You bring up a valid point because I
Yes.
remember thinking that too. Like,
Yeah.
why he don't do it this way? This is the best
Yep.
way. And in my mind,
Yep.
it absolutely is the best way. But
Absolutely.
what difference does that make if because our minds work differently, right? So
We're
he's got
different.
to do things the way that his mind works for him to do it. And I had to
Yeah.
just sit back and go, okay, it'll get
It's a
done.
Yeah.
learning process.
It's a learning process. It's a learning process. But I love it.
Because at first I'd be like,
You're
I
crazy.
well that
Hey,
part
Miss
too, but
Hey, Miss Patty said what you really wanted to say. She said it. She said it for you. You crazy.
well, the thing of it was is I like if I ask him to do something, I want him to do
Mhm.
it right then, really.
Yeah.
I had to
Yeah.
learn that, he can do it in his time. He don't have to do it in my time because
Exactly.
I don't want to do stuff in his time. But you learn that over time. It's just, and then because he not doing it my way, I do think my way is the most efficient. But he can do it his own way. All I care about is just that it get done.
Because
That's all that
Miss Lucille,
matters.
let me tell you what I told some of the ladies at our church. I told them, like, when my wife tells me, hey, I need you to do such and such for me, there's no magical timeline that starts in my head that says, "Oh, it doesn't." Because then again, here's the thing: when you ask me to do something, what sometimes you didn't take into consideration what's already on my plate. You didn't take that
Hmm.
into consideration. It's the most highest priority for you, but I might have some other things that are higher priority for me. So that's where the
Yeah.
communication gap comes in, right?
Mhm.
That's when I
Right.
have to ask you, like, hey, is this something you need me to do right away? Can this wait? But a lot of times we just say, all right, I got you. But I got you. Ain't no timeline started. I'm gonna get to it when I get to it. You know what I mean? So don't
Exactly.
you have a timeline. I ain't got no timeline. So yeah, that's where communication comes in.
And so that goes back to
So
the
then,
communication
we
too.
mad because you ain't done it yet,
Because
right?
I
We
haven't
mad
done it.
because
And
it's like
here's the
I
thing,
said this 3 days ago. Like, what's going on?
Patta, here's the thing, Patta. I ain't even thinking about doing it right now. I'm gonna do it, but I ain't even thinking about it, Pat. I'm thinking about something else. But
Exactly.
I'm
And
this
so what I
podcast is about
started to
freedom today.
yeah, freedom. And what I learned to do is if I need it done in a certain time, I need it done by a certain day. I was like, hey, can you get this done by Wednesday?
There we go. And that's clarity. Because
Clarity.
then now that gives me opportunity to say, yes, sweetheart, I can, or no, I cannot, and here's why I cannot. Right.
Yes.
So now
Yes.
when we don't just leave things in the air and you hope I'm gonna get to it and you hope my timeline aligns with yours when there's never a clock that started on my end ever.
Ever. I love
Ever.
that. Well, that was the good preamble. So
Yeah,
let's get out to our conversation starters. I'm
of
gonna
course.
ask this one. I think Pat is gonna ask the next one. We just gonna flow however we want to go. Okay.
Of course, of
So,
course.
in your words, explain to our guests, to
Mhm.
our audience, what you say is emotional safety.
Yeah, so emotional safety is the environment that we create where you are free to express your emotions and your thoughts and your feelings. That's part 1. So
Okay.
someone can be free to do that, but here's the most important part. You're free to do that without fear of rejection, retaliation, judgment, and criticism. That's where we get in
Mhm.
trouble. So emotional safety is the environment that we create for each other, where I am free to express my thoughts, my feelings, my perspectives without the fear of judgment, retaliation, and rejection. Some marriages have that, and some marriages are struggling to get that, and that's why some of us don't have stronger, deeper marriages.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So now
I
you said
love that.
yeah, rejection, retaliation. Now, I hadn't even thought about the retaliation because I talk about
Yeah.
the rejection and judgment all the time,
Uh
but the
huh.
retaliation, that's
Yeah.
okay. All
That one
right, I
right there is
like
a
that.
silent. It's a silent. It's what keeps a lot of people quiet.
Yeah.
Because retaliation does. It's not always immediate.
Mhm.
Rejection can almost feel immediate, but retaliation can be. You can plan retaliation.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know
gonna
what I
get
mean?
you
Like I
back.
said, yeah, I'm gonna get you back. I say this thing to you, and you don't say nothing right away, but it comes up 2 weeks later in a conversation, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, you've been plotting and planning this, and so therefore you
Mhm.
cause me to go back into my little bubble.
Yeah, and you know what? I
Wow.
want to think if I'm planning to do something, say for instance, my husband and I'm the one that's planning to retaliate.
Hmm.
I don't think, if I think about this deeply right now, just in this moment, I'm thinking to myself that I'm not really free to be who I am leading up to the point because I'm plotting
Hmm.
and planning.
Hmm.
You get what I'm
Absolutely,
saying? Whereas if
absolutely.
I could, I'm not a person that would do retaliation. I don't think.
Hmm.
No, I'm trying to think back. Have I ever done any retaliation?
In
But
41 years.
Oh, a little bit, a
but
little bit.
but normally the way my brain works, I have to get things out. Because
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
stew on things. Like if I have something that's weighing heavy on my heart and my mind, that thing is going to stay with me, and I'm not going to be able to be free to be
Hmm.
myself because I still got it going on and I'm still rehearsing it in my head. So I usually
Yeah,
just I usually have to get it out and
yeah.
say, hey, this was a problem that bothered me or something. And I can say that calmly now
Hmm.
in a way, but where I used to it wouldn't come out calmly is what I'm saying now. Early
Yeah,
on, it would
yeah, yeah.
be, some rage and breathing fire and, and leaving destruction in my wake.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because when I think of
Too, um,
no, go
sometimes
ahead.
too, retaliation can come out in our actions.
Absolutely.
So it's
Mhm.
mine like I might not be plotting to do XYZ, but that retaliation is sitting with me. So it might come out, don't tap me on my shoulder when we go to sleep at night. Just
Yeah.
don't. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
Or you
Absolutely.
may not say good morning, or you may not say hello. It just might be little things that you normally do
Hmm.
that retaliation is sitting with you. Like you say, so you're not free of it.
You know.
And a
Mhm.
lot of times, I know for me personally, it would probably come out more in my actions before I was able to actually verbalize it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah.
that,
For
the
some people, it's
difference.
immediate. Some people will
Mhm.
retaliate immediately. Some people, it just takes a little bit more time. And like you said, Miss Pata, some people, it's not necessarily plotting it. It's there. It's present. And then all of a sudden, I say something to you. Boom! Here comes the trigger, and now we go from 0 to 100. So yeah, yeah.
And we don't even
And
know how
and
we got there.
and we don't we don't
Right,
we don't recognize in
exactly.
the moment how we got there. But if we assess, we'd realize it's because that conversation we had, man, I had some stuff just brewing, and I just didn't know how to verbalize it in the moment. But I'm still
Mhm.
carrying it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So you talk about emotional safety. Why is emotional safety so essential to a healthy marriage?
Yeah, because you got to think about it. Your marriage is supposed to be the place where you feel the most safe. It's supposed to be that oasis. It's supposed to be that place where when the world turns against you, when people have all these things to say about you, when things are not going well at work, when whatever issues there are, you're supposed to have, because remember, God brought you two together. You're supposed to
Mhm.
have somebody who you can just come in and have that conversation with, and you don't fear the criticism and the judgment and retaliation. And so when one person doesn't feel that way, then what usually happens is, I like to draw the difference between alone and lonely. So in my
Mhm.
marriage, because I'm with my wife, I shouldn't be alone, right? Because there's two of us. But here's the thing though, if there's not intimacy, if there's not emotional safety, I may not be alone, but I could be lonely. And lonely is usually when you're in the presence of people, yet you feel like there's nobody there. So just imagine whether we're talking about the wife or the husband, just they're going through things in life and you're right there, you're within inches of them, but it feels like you are miles away. They're going through stuff, things are happening. I mean, the enemy is kicking their tail, like telling them stuff, and they want to tell you but they can't. The world is beating them down and they want to tell you things and they can't. So how is a marriage supposed to thrive if the person that God has joined me with does not make me feel safe? So if we want our marriages to thrive, emotional safety has to be something that we prioritize, most definitely.
Mm, I love that. I love
Wow.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So why do
Because
Why do you
couples
think?
often overlook
Yeah.
it?
why do couples often overlook it?
Hmm.
I think sometimes, a lot of times, it's because of fear, and a lot of thing. The thing too is, I'm not so sure we had too many people teach us how to prioritize. Like we didn't see this thing modeled, and because we didn't see this thing modeled, we don't know how to build it. Some of us are in what I would call safe marriages, and we think that's how it's supposed to go. Like when couples say things like, "We never argue," we never, man, come on, man, stop playing. The reason why you never argue, and I'm not saying you need to fight. I'm not saying fight is a prerequisite for your marriage. No, 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 no. I think disagreements and arguments will take place. But if you have the idea of we never argue, it's because you too scared to bring about a different perspective, because you know that different perspective can cause retaliation, rejection, or criticism. So why do we overlook it? Because it's safe to do so, Miss Lucille. I would rather act like everything is good than to actually address what's not good so we can get to good. That's why we overlook it, because it's safe to overlook it.
Mm,
Say to overlook it.
hmm. I love that
Wow.
perspective.
Hmm.
So, what behaviors build emotional safety between a husband and a wife?
Oh, absolutely. So there's I would say, number one, listening not just with your ear, but also listening with your heart. Listening, creating the opportunity, like really truly listening to people. I teach leadership development courses and I talk about the barriers to listening, right? And so some of the barriers to listening, and some people pretend to listen, right? The people that listen long enough to capture something, and then they spit it back at you, but they didn't really listen to the whole conversation. They're just pretending to be in the moment with you. Some people just flat out ignore you completely, and that's just terrible. But then the other part is, some people are selective listeners. What they're listening for is, they're listening for keywords and key points, so that way maybe they can mirror that back to you. Now you thought they were in this moment with you, but they weren't really listening to you. And then the last one is, some people are what we call double Dutch listeners. Now I don't know if you ever heard of a double Dutch listener before. Nope.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Here we
So,
go.
if you think about double Dutch, right? It's the idea of, they're swinging the rope and you're waiting to jump in. You're waiting to jump in.
Oh,
So
yeah.
double Dutch listener is somebody that's listening to you, but while they're listening, they're getting ready to interrupt you. So because they're thinking about what they're going to say, they're not truly taking in what you're actually saying.
What you're actually
because
saying.
because what they're most interested in is, when can I jump in? When can I jump in? When can I jump in? Right. So we don't want to ignore. We don't want to protect. We don't want to pretend. We don't want to be selective listeners. We don't want to be double Dutch listeners. We want to be active listeners. But even more than that, we want to be empathetic listeners. We want to listen with our ears. We want to listen with our hearts. So I think that's one of the most important things that we can do in building emotional safety. When someone's having a conversation with you, and here's the thing, even if you disagree, can you be patient long enough to understand their thought process and their perspective? Because that
Oh,
disagreement, your natural reaction to be like, is to fight back. Nah, just chill, man. Just buckle up, buttercup, buckle up, buttercup, and let that person have that conversation. Let them say what's on their mind. Let them say what's in their heart. Don't be so quick to correct them in that
Hmm.
moment. Just
Hmm.
listen. Now, correction can come later, absolutely, but in that moment, what listening does is it creates a safe space for them. It
Hmm.
lets them know that they can continue. It lets them know that, they can have these. Sometimes people have thoughts that are not even fully developed, but you're letting your spouse know that it's okay. It doesn't have to be fully developed. We can walk through this thing together. So listening is super important as it relates to building emotional safety.
I love that. And that kind of reminds me because I have a framework too that my heart to heart framework, and the E in heart goes for empathy.
Hmm.
And that's what we talk about is listening
Yeah.
for what the person is really saying.
Hmm.
Because I use an example where my husband said something to me and I can be offended now. I'm tell you, I can go from zero to silent treatment in about
Mm.
2.5 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But my husband had said something to me, and I took offense to it.
Hmm.
But I had been learning how to slow down and ask questions. And I remember the first time I said, "What I hear you saying is this."
Hmm.
And he said, "No, that's not what I'm saying at all."
At all. At all. Not even close.
Not even close to what I was saying.
Not
I was
even
like,
close.
so
Yeah.
I thought about, man, all the and this learning to do this was probably maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm thinking, you know, 30 years of misunderstandings and
Yes.
everything could have been
Mhm.
Yeah.
rectified with a slow down and ask a question and just say,
Yeah.
"Are
Yeah.
you saying this?"
Yeah. And that's a
Wow.
powerful tool, Miss Lucille, to use in communication, right? And I learned this, man. I think I learned this maybe sixth grade. They had this guy come to our middle school, and he was talking about communication, and he was saying whenever you talk to people, at some point you have to stop and say, "So what you're saying is," and repeat it back to them. That gives an opportunity to say yes or not even close.
Right.
Because think about it, Miss Lucille. The man spoke, and you got your own interpretation, and you now walking forward in life with that misinterpretation. And he thought he was clear, and you thought
Mhm.
you were clear in decoding the message, and you're not even close. So now you're making decisions based off of false information. Now, I'm
Mhm.
not blaming you. I'm saying there was a breakdown in communication in that process. So
Mhm.
yeah, I have to, because, and the reason why it's important to do that is because my wife and I, we're different. Our communication styles are different,
Mhm.
very different. So we
Mhm.
often have to say like, okay, so baby, okay, so let me get this right. So what you're saying is this, and she might say yes or she might say no. Or sometimes I ask her like, can you tell me what do you think I mean by that? And she might say
Mhm.
something. And I'm like, no, that's not what I
Mhm.
mean. There's no such thing as a non-biased listener.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no such thing as a non-biased listener. So even as you're listening, you have to fight your own assumptions and perceptions and perspectives and previous experiences and what they did last week. And you're fighting all of these things to really, it's the clutter that you have to fight through to really listen to what's being said in the moment. So one of the best things you can do is just clarify, hey, um, is that what you mean? Is that what you said? Can you repeat what you thought? What did you think I said?
Yeah.
And that
Mhm.
offers opportunity for clarity.
Absolutely, because I'm listening to it, and we're all listening to things through the
Yeah.
lens of our lived experiences,
Yes.
traumas, all of
Absolutely.
that. And so
Absolutely.
it's
Everything.
so important to ask those questions. And I find, but let me tell you something about me though that I thought about just
Mhm.
recently while we're talking here. As a kid, I was told not to ask too many questions,
Mm. Okay.
and so growing up, I tried to not ask as many questions because I don't want to be irritating or whatever. And I think that's what shaped me into
Shaped me into
not to
not
asking. Uh oh, I hear some feedback. Is that you, Pata? It sounds like a little feedback on your end. It could be on my end, but
Yeah, I
check
think
and
it's
see.
gone now.
Okay.
to.
But yeah, that shaped me into not asking as many clarifying questions growing up. And I wish in all of my relationships, at my work, in my marriage, with the kids, that I had have asked more questions because they would say things and I would go, oh, okay, I think I understand or whatever. And I just go on and start pushing forward in what
But
I thought.
yeah, and you keep it in.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
didn't always have to be something that was hurtful,
Something
but I'm talking about
something
in
bad.
a lot of things. I should have been asking some clarifying questions, and so I ask a lot of questions now. And I encourage my young. I have a grandson that's 32, so and my adult children they're a little older than that. But I tell them, don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask, well, tell me, what do you mean by that? Unpack that a little bit for me. I find myself saying that all the time. Unpack that a little
Unpack.
bit for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what do you mean by that? Help me
Yeah.
understand. And what's another one? How did that make you feel?
Yeah. How did that make you feel?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then sit with that. And then be prepared for whatever the feeling is. That's how you build emotional safety. Maybe I said something to my wife and I didn't mean it that way. And I said, how did that make you feel? And she said, you know what you just said was really hurtful, and or whatever the word is, disrespectful, whatever it is. Now, if I'm trying to prove to her, well, hold on now, I'm not a disrespectful man. What I'm saying to her is, if you ever feel like that, you can't say that around me,
Mm-hmm.
because now you're
Right.
attacking my character. And instead I can say, hey, okay, well, that definitely wasn't my intent, babe, but I understand that there's a difference between my intent and my impact, and I didn't mean to disrespect you, but right now you feel disrespected. One of the most powerful things you can do for your spouse in terms of building emotional safety is, a lot of people don't like this because they don't understand it, validate their feelings. Validate
Mm,
their feelings. Now, validate their feelings doesn't even mean that you agree with their feelings. Validate their feelings means you agree that they're carrying that feeling. That's different. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying you feel disrespected. I have to step into your world for that moment and say, you know what? I agree that she feels disrespected. Even if I disagree that I didn't disrespect her. But in that moment, though, validate and saying, you know what? Hey, thank you for sharing that with me. Hey, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't see it that way, but you feel disrespected. Thank you for sharing that with me. Thank you for letting me know. That's validating their feelings. You're Even if, again, we seem to think that I have to agree with you in order to validate your feeling. No, but I
exactly.
but I feel this thing, and I tell my wife, and early on in our marriage, I feel deeply. I am the feeler. Like, things resonate with me, right? So early on, I would tell my wife, because I would express something to her, and my wife is very like, man, she gets things done. She's the action taker. She's the doer. She don't sit in feelings for too long. She just get to it. And
Uh-huh.
so, and early on, I would express something to her, and you could see her trying to struggle, like, I don't feel how he feel. Like, I don't know what's going on here. And I would tell her, I said, babe, you can't dictate how I feel. You can't choose my feelings for me. And I don't even need you to feel what I feel, but I need you to see me. I need you to see that
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling this thing. And in this moment, one of the best things you can do is not make me feel crazy for feeling this thing. You can't be like, well, you shouldn't feel that way. What do you mean I shouldn't feel that way? I feel that way.
Yeah, I can't just say, well, you too
This
sensitive,
is huge.
Ralph.
Yeah, you're too sensitive. Oh
Yes.
man. I
This
have
is
a
huge.
Yeah.
This is huge. The validation. A lot of times, I've had conversations with my husband, and like you said, you had that conversation, and he was like, "Well, that's not what I meant. That wasn't my intent."
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, irregardless, this is how it made me feel.
Yes.
But your point about that validation is
Mm-hmm.
huge.
Absolutely.
And how you explain that to our listeners,
Yeah.
I've learned something new already. So it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, I don't have to accept it, but I have to accept this is how you
This is
feeling.
how you feel.
Right,
Even
right,
if I didn't mean it. So, Miss
right.
Pat, I'll tell you this. I was sharing this with my wife, and God just, man, just God is so good. I was telling her about the difference between intent and impact, right? And we were in our garage, and God gave me this illustration for her. I was like, okay, babe, check this out. Like, sometimes we do things, and people will say, well, I didn't mean it. That wasn't my intent. I get it. Even though that wasn't your intent, we can't dismiss the fact that there's still an impact that comes with it. So we're in the garage, and I'm trying to break this thing down, and I look over at, like, our little flower bed, and I say, I got it. So here's what it was. I looked at the flower bed, and I saw these rocks. We had like these white gray rocks, but then there's a couple of them who are like brownish and yellowish. So I said, babe, what if I took one of these rocks, because they're white, they're brown and they're yellow, and they don't match the color scheme we have. What if I took one of them and I threw it across the street? What's my intent? She goes, well, your intent is to get rid of the brown and yellow rocks. I said, boom, got it. I said, but what if somebody was walking by, and as they were walking by, and that rock hit them in the head, bust their head open, and now they
Mm.
bleeding? What just happened? She said, well, that's the impact. I said, yeah, but what was my intent though? My intent was to get rid of the brown rocks. But what was the impact? The impact is somebody's
But
head is
I'm
busted.
bleeding.
So now, what are we going to focus on? Are we going to focus on my intent? Or are we going to focus on the impact? We're going to focus on the impact. I didn't mean to hit somebody in the head with this rock. That's the intent. But the impact is somebody got hit in the head with a rock. So now
Right.
we need to address the impact. We're not going to dismiss the intent, but we're not going to be like, why didn't you get, man, brother, you stuck on, I didn't mean to, I didn't mean to, I didn't mean to, I didn't mean to. I hear you, brother, but it still got done.
I'm bleeding. Yeah.
I'm bleeding. So what you going to do? You going to keep telling me you didn't mean to? While I'm bleeding. We're gonna talk about your intent while the impact is I'm bleeding. So
Uh-huh.
that's the analogy that I use for people. Just let's take care of the blood. Let's take care of the blood.
Yes, I love that.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Great analogy. We're talking a lot about emotional safety. So, on the other hand, what behaviors quietly destroy emotional safety?
Oh, um, one of you said it earlier. Name calling, right? So let's say, for example, I'm sharing something with you, and you go, "Oh man, you so sensitive." Oh my goodness, especially for men. I've told women like, don't. I don't know why, but it's one of those trigger points for us. Don't ever call a man sensitive, because even if he is, but for some reason, hearing that just makes them shrink. It makes them feel weak. It makes them feel like they're like there's this strength that they possess, and it's gone in that moment because sensitivity is not attached to manhood. So you're
Mm.
calling them out of their identity, right? So name calling, and not just that word, but just any name calling that we do in a conversation is something that can definitely erode emotional safety. The biggest thing is when you listen and you turn wounds into weapons. That is one of the quickest ways to erode at emotional safety. When you turn wounds into weapons, when somebody shares something with you, and I told you guys, I'm gonna be blunt, keep it 100, as the kids say,
Go right
keep it a,
Yes,
ahead.
yes,
keep it a
yes,
book.
yes.
I dated a young lady for 4.5 years. This was before I met my beautiful wife, which I'll be married to for 11 years in September. So grateful for her. But I dated before her. I dated somebody for 4.5 years. And when you've been with somebody for that long, you learn things about them. One of the things that she learned about me is I had a rough relationship with my father. And we were just we at that point, at that time, we weren't on speaking terms. And I would explain to her the kind of person that he is and he was, and how much I don't want to be like him, and I want to do these things differently, and blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. And one of the things that homegirl would do whenever we get into a disagreement and she wants to win the fight, she would just
Don't be just
utter
like
these words right here. Say it, Miss Patty, you say it. Go ahead and say it.
you just like your father.
You just like your daddy. And she would take that wound and weaponize it. And what that told me is, not only do I not talk to you about my father, I don't want to talk to you about anything personal that you will now take and cook up and serve it to me later. So one of the
Mm.
most dangerous things we can do, behaviors we can do, is when we feel like we're about to lose a discussion or whatever, we're like, "Oh, I got ammunition. I can take him out, or I can take her out right now. I can remind her of her past.
Mm.
I could destroy him right now." Well, let me tell you something. That's you're siding with the enemy to destroy somebody that God has partnered you with. That's what you're doing.
So, is there any return from once someone turns your
Ooh.
wounds into weapons? Is there any way to build trust again? Is there any return from that? Like,
Miss Pata, for some people, I'll be honest and tell you, for some people there is no return,
okay,
because for some people you got to realize they went to a really really deep place to be able to share that thing with you.
okay.
And so they went to a place that they've never been to with anybody else, and they did it with you. Once you shoot that arrow back at them, for some of them, it changes. I mean, it takes an act of God to get
Okay.
that person to become vulnerable again. Because now
Mhm.
that person, whenever they hear the word vulnerability, they don't hear strength. They don't see it as something that we're supposed to be able to tap into. They see it as, man, vulnerability is what got me hurt. Vulnerability is
Mhm.
what got me attacked.
Mhm.
Vulnerability is what got me in this position. I exposed myself, and this person didn't provide any coverage at all. And so for
Mhm.
Mhm.
some people there is no return. It takes an act of God to bring them back. And then for some people, I always tell couples, listen, if you made that mistake, step one is you got to take ownership of that and apologize for it. Yeah, you got to be
Mhm.
sincere about, hey, listen, I should have never said that to you. I
Mhm.
said this thing, and I know, take own apologize and take ownership. I said this thing and I shouldn't have said that. I made you, I made you feel this way, and I shouldn't have done that. And then I think on the other end of that is do your best to make a promise that you intend to keep. And it might sound like, hey, I said this thing, but I want to make sure I never put you in that position again. I want to work towards rebuilding an environment where we can both feel safe. And I want to make sure that I hold my tongue. Even if I were to think something, even if I think it, I don't say it because of the
Mhm.
person that I believe that you are and because of the marriage that I believe God has given us. So I say you apologize, take ownership, and then give them a plan for the future. Because even if you
Okay.
apologize and take ownership, they're probably thinking, but you might do it again. So
But you
then,
might that because that thought is there now,
yeah,
right? It's in
yeah,
your head and it's in your heart.
it's
So
in your
it's
heart.
like, yeah,
Yeah. So then I think part of that is including there. What is your plan to change? What is your plan to not do that again? That can begin to lower their guard and rebuild emotional safety.
Mhm. I love that. Patty often uses the example of toothpaste. Once it's
Yeah.
out the tube, that our
Okay.
words are like toothpaste.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's just really like you said, it takes a certain person, and it's not everybody, and that's not knocking how you are,
Hmm.
but certain people just cannot recover from that. They
Yeah.
just can't. They may really want to.
Yeah. They're scared. There's some things that people experience, Miss Patta. They told themselves, "Oh, wow, I never want to feel like that again." There's some people who grew up hearing other people say, "Hey, man, don't you ever tell a woman, all your business. Don't you ever do, man, boy, nah, bro, you take that to the grave and don't." So they grew up with that. They're hardened in that way. Then they meet you, and over the years, you soften them up a little bit. They begin to think a little differently. So now they're becoming someone that is new to them. And then
Mhm.
you take that person and you shoot that arrow at them, they're like,
I
"Oh man, I should have listened to
see,
what they told me."
see, right,
Mhm.
See,
right.
Yeah.
see. And here's the thing: the advice that they were given, it was terrible advice. But now that you've done the thing that you've done, now they go, "Yeah, see, man, that was actually good advice, man. I'll never do that again. I'll never be a sucker again."
Mhm.
Right.
And
But
and
Absolutely.
like Lucille said earlier, we are conditioned as kids, like
hmm
you say, to not ask questions.
hmm
Especially our generation, Lucille, that was, you're asking too many questions. Little girl, just go somewhere and be quiet,
Yeah.
right?
yep,
And then, like you say, that advice, those things, even we don't know what they're about when they're being told to us. It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But as we get older, like Lucille and I talk about, we were always told, don't let your husband, don't let the man know what you're doing. You always keep you something over here. I
hmm
mean, all those little things
yeah,
you don't realize when they're told to you. It's like, yeah, 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 but they're in there, they're in your storage, they're in your memory. So, like you said, when this opportunity comes up in a relationship,
yeah.
like the box opens up,
Can
you
I tell
know?
you what's happening, Miss Batter? That advice came from people who didn't have emotional safety.
Mhm.
Oh
That
man,
advice came from
yes.
people who didn't have, who didn't have the thing that you're looking to build. That advice came from people who were hurt, who are scarred, who
Mhm.
never dealt with it. So from their perspective, they're trying to protect you. when
Mhm.
when and I've heard this too. Like, I was born and raised in Haiti, and I grew up in a traditional Haitian household, and I've been around Haitian people all my life, and I've often heard like the women will say, "Hey, you just like y'all just said, you need to have a little side account because you never know when brother gonna decide to do whatever he do, right?" And
Mhm.
you hear that, and you're like, "Yeah, that sounds like good advice. I should have something because you never know." But why is she telling you that? She's telling you that because she's been hurt before. She's
Mhm.
telling that
Mhm.
because she's been broken before. She's been cheated on before. She's telling you that because somebody has put her in a position where she was out of money and she had to figure it out for her and the kids. And she told
Mhm.
herself, not only do I never want to experience that, I also don't want you to experience that. So
Mhm.
how do I prevent you from experiencing that? Well, I can't tell you how to build emotional safety because I never built it.
Right.
I can't tell you about the trust because we didn't have trust. So I'm gonna tell you to put your little money to the side. If he act up, you're not left high and dry.
Mhm.
So they're serving you from their pain point.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
And as
Gotcha.
I'm a financial person, so I'm
yeah,
all about having uh him having some account money over
yeah,
that he don't have to have a conversation with me about, and her having some money over it, but the
yeah,
conversation has been had. so that you know that I have some money over here, you have some money over there,
Ooh, Miss
and
Lucille, y'all got y'all hiding money. No, I'm just playing.
it's
I'm
not
just playing.
hiding. It's not
You know,
hiding. He know I
it's
got
not
it,
at
and
all. It's not at all. So
because we
same for me
talked
and my
about
wife.
it.
Yeah, same
Mhm.
for me and my wife. Like we have of course our joint accounts, and then we also have our own separate accounts. But the thing
Mhm.
is, we have access to those accounts. It's not like she doesn't know they exist.
Right.
Now, she doesn't need to ask me what's in it, because we have there's trust that exists
Yes.
between us, and
Yes.
there's boundaries and rules that we set for our finances as well. But yeah, I don't have to be all up in the account that she has on, because there's times where we might want to do something for each other, just a little
Right.
Mhm.
surprise, and we're not pulling it from the joint account. We're pulling it from the separate account. But again, the big thing is there's access.
Yes.
She knows about this account, and if she says, "Hey, let me check to see what's in it," I'm not gonna be like, "No, girl, you no." It's about access,
Yeah.
and because
Right.
there's trust, I don't even need to see what's in there. I
Absolutely. I don't
I
care.
trust you as a steward, a good steward. If you have somebody who's a good steward of what God has
Yeah,
given to,
that part.
I
That part.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I trust her stewardship, and she trusts my stewardship, and we know we're not going to run the family into the ground. So yeah, no, I'm for that for sure.
Absolutely. Well, let me ask you a question that I wrote down when you said something. So when somebody brings something up to hurt you like that, and then they go, "Oh, I was just playing."
Oh, mm, mm. I was just playing. Yeah, this don't feel like a game to me. This
Right.
this doesn't it. I mean, whether you're playing or not, when I throw that rock, if I was just playing, a blood ain't play. My
Right. You
Right.
scars
can't
are not.
take that. You can't take that back, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah,
take
yeah,
that
yeah. I know you were just playing when you threw the rock, but I still got hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna need you to not play like that. Why does your play hurt so much? Why
Mhm.
when we
back.
why when we play I gotta get hurt? You know what I'm saying? Why when we play
Mm.
why when we play it's not fun? I don't want to play with people that I always get hurt. Like just imagine, what I'm saying? Like whatever your favorite game is, whether it's cards or sports, spades, whatever it is. If there's somebody every time you play with them, Miss Patta, they do something that hurts me in the process of playing, I'm not gonna want to
You
play
don't
with
want
you
to
no more.
play.
Yeah.
You
We're
don't
not
want to play
playing
with
no
you.
more. We're not
I'm
playing
not
no
playing
more.
no more because you don't know how to
Mm-mm.
play.
Right.
Exactly.
You don't know how to play.
Yeah, well, that's what came to mind because I'm telling you,
Yeah,
not that this happened in my marriage relationship, but I just think about in dealing with people. We got to communicate with people, so it could be
yeah.
friends or siblings or family or something like that. And I just remember. Um, something like I want to say probably in my early 20s I was working somewhere and somebody said something and I took offense to it and they said, "Oh, I was just playing." And I said,
Mhm.
"No." To myself, I don't think I addressed it with them, but it
Yeah,
always stayed in my mind that there was some you're saying you're just playing now cuz I done called you on
because
it.
you
But
exactly.
the thought was always no, it came from a real place.
Mhm.
There's some intent there. I
The
was,
fact
yeah.
that you said it meant you thought about it.
Of course.
So we don't play like that.
We don't play like yeah, we don't play like that. We don't play like that. Yeah, we don't play like that. So that's important.
Mhm. So many couples have experienced emotional wounds.
Mm.
How can they begin rebuilding trust and emotional safety after they've been hurt?
Yeah. As a believer, for me, the first part, man, we gotta pray. One of we gotta pray. Because sometimes what wounds will do is it'll harden the heart. And so it doesn't matter what the effort is. If my heart is hardened, it's not gonna go nowhere. Because even if my wife has offended me and I'm mad or whatever, because we're married and we're in a covenant and not a contract, when she makes an attempt to reconnect, I have to be open to her reconnection because a covenant is forever. So even though I'm upset with her in the moment, when I think about forever, though, I have to say, you know what? I got to be open to it. Now, there's times where it's like, hey, I need a moment, but again, we don't say no. we
Mhm.
say we say not yet. I might need a moment. I might still be processing. So I think prayer is a big part of that. Again, the apologies and taking ownership I think are big as well, because
Mhm.
what an apology does to the person is lets them know that, and you feel sorry and you wish you hadn't done that, and you recognize that even though you were playing, you recognize that for me it was for real. And so that
Mhm.
apology and taking ownership is next. And then be committed to growing and being better. Like man, don't nobody want to be with somebody who apologizes every other day. Because then
Mhm.
that lets me know, man, you don't them words just come out your mouth just a little too
You don't
easy, bro.
even mean it. You
Right.
don't
You
even
don't even mean
Right.
it. But at this point, it's just a default response. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You done said I'm sorry every other day. So being committed to changing, being committed to growing, being committed to really serving the person that God has partnered you with, I think is an important part, because wounds will take place. Some of them are intentional, some of them are unintentional. But I think if we are asking ourselves, man, like how can I make sure I take care of this person? Like I
Mhm.
think that's why intentionality is so important, because if someone's top of mind, if you're learning them and your goal is to serve them, there's certain things you won't say to them. There's certain things that you
Right.
won't do to them. Right. So if I were to, summarize it, I would say definitely prayer, apologizing and taking ownership, and then being committed to the process of growing and learning.
Wow. I really love what you just said too. Covenant,
Yeah.
not a contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
mhm.
So your covenant requires emotional safety. A
Oh, absolutely.
contract does not.
Yeah, because a contract, if I don't feel safe, I could leave. I could just leave. Like, in a Christian marriage, you gonna go through some
Right.
stuff just like everybody's marriage. But for me, when something comes up, I'm not thinking what's my exit way out. I'm
Mhm.
thinking like, okay, how do we get through this so we can get back to who we are and where we're supposed to be? And that's the difference. Like having that eternity perspective, I think is beneficial, because that's how God created
Mhm.
it. That's how God
Mhm.
created it. And so that's key for me. Emotional, I have to have emotional safety, because I plan on being with you. I'm trying to look. Let me see. 11 years. In 30 years, I'm trying to be like Miss Lucille. I'm trying to be on somebody's podcast. Me and my wife, we've been together for 41 years. I'm
Yeah.
trying. I want to grow old with you. I don't want to.
Yes.
I don't want to grow old because of you. That's different.
Yeah, that
I
is
want to grow
different.
old with you. I don't want to grow old because of you. And so, because of that, we both got to be safe. Like her safety is important to me too. One
Yes.
of the things that
Right.
my one of my pastors told me, and when before my wife and I got married, he goes, and he loves my wife. He said, "That's my daughter," and he goes, "I want you to make her even more beautiful than she is." I'll never forget that. And I understood what he was saying. He wasn't talking about her outside beauty. He was saying, "Man, don't wear this girl out, brother. Please don't
Mm.
you stress this girl out. Don't you make the grays come earlier than they need to. I need you to take care of my daughter." And
Yeah.
before he said that, God said that. God says we need to
Mm.
learn how to deal with each other and understanding. He gave me the responsibilities of being willing to die for this girl, serve
Mhm.
her. He told me to
Mhm.
wash her with the word. So yeah, I'm trying to grow old with her. I'm not trying to go old because of
Of
her.
her.
Good
Nah,
point. Good
I want
point.
to
And
live.
when you get to that other side, which I'm pretty sure you will,
Yes, ma'am.
you guys will look back and be like, that used to be us. You
You
like
know
look
what I'm
at each
saying?
other now and you be
I'll be
like, oh
like,
my God,
I'll be
look
like,
at us. Oh my
look at us
God.
looking like Miss Lucille and Miss Patta. You know what I'm saying? Just years in the game. Years in the
It is
game.
definitely a blessing when you get on this other side.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that come with it, but when you look back over the years and you say, wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
we
And
did this. This was really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
We looked at it like you said. A lot of times people kind of see like this is a contract. I can get a divorce because they're
Hmm.
looking at like it's a contract. You get a divorce, it's a way out.
Yeah.
It's a way out. A covenant is like, and it took me years to really understand that,
Hmm. Hmm.
and live by that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I came from, like I've expressed before, my mom's been married 6 times.
Hmm.
So when I got married, honestly, my mindset was, I love this man to death, but if it doesn't work, oh, I'll get divorced and I'll get married again.
Yeah. 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 It was
mm,
modeled
But
for you.
learning that aspect,
Yeah.
the faith, the covenant, in biblical terms, has
Hmm.
really sustained me and my marriage,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's
absolutely.
healthy, because if you look at it as, man, we're not supposed to be out of this thing, then you tell yourself, well, then what do I do to stay in this thing? Not just to stay in it, but to enjoy it too. Like,
Mhm.
thrive and to be
yeah, and
happy.
thrive
Yes.
into it. Like, what who do I need to become? What are the bad habits that I have that I need to get rid of? The bad devices that I have to get rid of. The everything that how do I enjoy this thing? Because it's
Mm,
supposed to be forever, not just, man, I don't want to be able to say we've been married for 20 years and you look at my wife and she looked like 20 years of hard labor. Nah, that's horrible. That's
Mhm.
horrible. Like, we both want to be able to say, yeah, we done been through some stuff. We both want to say, yeah, we've had some disagreements. We both want to say, yeah, we've there's days where we're like, you know what, man, I didn't like what you did. I didn't appreciate that. But overall, man, this man loved me. This man
Mhm.
served me. This man paid attention to me. He listened to me. He took care of me. When he disagreed with me, he didn't make me feel disagreeable. Like,
mm,
I want her
mhm,
to be able to say these things about me. Otherwise, what's the point? Like,
Mhm.
time is not an indicator of how much I loved her and how well I
Mhm.
mhm.
loved her. No, time
Right.
is not. Intentionality is, though. And so that's what I want to
Mhm.
be known for being intentional in how I love this woman that God has placed in my care.
Yeah, and she wants the same thing, you know.
Absolutely.
She's saying to herself, "How can I make it a safe place for him? How can
Yeah.
I be more intentional about loving
Oh yeah.
him? How can I make him feel seen and desired and appreciated and all of those things?"
Miss Lucille, the reason why in certain spaces, like, people will be like, you walk boldly. Yeah, because I have safety at home. Like, there's
Mhm.
certain things I say is because I know that things can get wild out here, but I have somebody to run to. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I have
Mhm.
safety at home, which allows me to flow more freely in certain spaces. But some men shrink and they shrink because they don't have that outlet at home. And
Mhm.
so you'll see,
Mhm.
and then his the opposite also happens too. Some men become larger than life in other spaces because it's the only space where they feel appreciated and welcome, and they're trying to create safety for themselves,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. I
yeah,
could
Mm,
see
yeah,
that. I could
yeah.
see
So
that.
some people, yeah, they like, man, that boy just larger than life, yeah, because he it's the only place where he's trying to find some bit of safety. It's the only place
Mhm.
where he feel like he can be himself. So
Yeah.
he's like, I'm gonna take advantage of this because I know as soon as I go back home, I gotta shrink again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he inflates away from the home and then he
Oh.
shrinks when he get home.
When he get home.
Yeah.
And that is so important that we make our homes a safe haven.
Yeah.
Um, but you said something that to that covenant point that Pata brought out that I thought back about years ago because the reason for me and Patty even getting into conversation when we met and finding out that we both had these long lasting marriages and our conversation was kind of around, it took it took a while to get here, but we're so glad that we
Mhm.
did.
Yeah.
And my heart is because I work at my church and I would work in youth ministry and children's ministry. And I'd go to these weddings and these young people would be so happy on their wedding day. And
Mhm.
then I might see them at the grocery store, or something out later, maybe 2 years. And I say, "Oh, how are you and your wife doing? Or how are you and your husband doing or whatever?" And they say, "Oh, we're divorced."
Mm.
And that would just hurt my heart because I think
Yeah.
in 2 years, you don't have no idea how how tough things can get in two
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
couldn't make it in 2 years, but um, to the point of looking to God
Mhm.
for
mhm.
um, what I needed
Yeah.
is what happened for me. And
Yeah.
I hope
Me
this
too.
will help somebody else. I had to take really my husband's face off the thing because the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against
Flesh and blood.
principalities and all of these other
Mhm.
the rulers and high places and different things. So at church, I really got that one Sunday, and I came home and I said, "You know what? God, I'm looking to you
Mhm.
to love me through him."
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
could really take the pressure off of what I was seeing in his behavior or him or anything like that. And I
Exactly.
I placed it
Mhm.
fully on God's shoulders. And that
Yeah.
allowed me
Mhm.
to really take it off of my shoulders because I felt like maybe a combative. I've got that type D personality where where I don't mind going toe to toe with you. I don't want to go there, but if that's what you want, then let's do it. But
Yeah.
I really had to come in and just say, you know what? I understand now that God, you are using him to love me.
Hmm.
You that's how
Mhm.
you're loving me, is you're loving me through him and the people
Yeah.
that you place in my circle. But for for our relationship, you're using him to love me. And for me, you're using me to love him.
Yeah.
So I need to model God's grace and
Exactly.
mercy
Yeah.
when I
Exactly.
when I'm dealing with my husband. And that means they may mean sometime I may need to close my mouth
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
when I'm upset about something that's not going right or something like that,
Yeah.
and so I think that's a good.
That's that fruit of the spirit. That's that self-control.
Yes. But
Absolutely.
like she said, it's just such a learn. I totally agree, Lucille, with everything you said. And Ralph, it's been such a journey and a learned process of knowing like I'm not gonna pop off right now. When you go to God and say, God, help me through this, give me the words, give me the guidance, give me the wisdom,
Hmm.
let me walk. Sometimes I'm like, what would God do in this situation? So
Hmm.
I can only control my behaviors.
Yep. Yep.
So
Mhm.
I have to pull back and not pop off with my
Hmm.
words that I may not be able to take back and say, how would God act in this situation?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
even about like turning the other cheek or making yourself smaller. It's just kind of pulling back, taking a look. And when you come back, you're in a much better place to have those discussions in that emotional safety environment to
Yeah.
create that.
Yeah.
It's just like you said, sometimes it's like, well, God would do it this way. And I have learned to get, I don't know, just feel better about, wow, I didn't react that way this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I
It.
actually felt, I can't even put it into words,
Yeah.
You're
like
like,
how
but
I
you felt
felt.
freer. For
Yeah.
me, it was just
Yeah, I
like
can't.
it lifted something off my shoulders. Like I don't have to be so combative. God got
Yeah.
me.
God got me.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. But again, that was a learned process.
Yeah. And we're
Mhm.
all learning this pattern. We're all learning. For me is I just don't trust my feelings that much. I don't trust my feelings that much to do everything they tell me to do. I really don't,
Mm,
because
that's a good point.
I'll never forget this pastor said this in a sermon. He said feelings are indicators, they're not dictators. Meaning you can feel
Mhm.
whatever you feel. It lets you know something's changing, something's happening, but you still are responsible for the next thing you do or say, right? Feelings,
Mhm.
to me, there's no such thing as good or bad feelings. Feelings are just signals. They let you know, so I don't like what they said, so I feel angry, I feel whatever, right? There's no good or bad. It's just feelings. They're indicators. But what people fail to realize is I have options as to what I do next. I have
Mhm.
the option to not say the thing that came to my mind to say. Some
Mhm.
people say things like, I'm that kind of person, like, man, I'm gonna say it. They're gonna have to hear it. Whatever's on my mind, I'm gonna say it. And I tell people all the time, that person, just look behind them. I guarantee you, they've left behind a trail of people that they've hurt and are still
Mhm.
hurting from the words that they released. Because they
Mhm.
told themselves, if I feel it, then I gotta say it because me, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna let them know. I'm gonna tell it like it is. Okay, telling it like it is has gotten you this reputation of leaving a trail of tears behind you. And so
Mhm.
I just don't trust my feelings that much. And it's Miss Patta, I ain't gonna sit here and tell you that I always win that battle. But
It's
I
Mhm.
hard.
will.
It's a constant. It's a
It's a
constant
it's a
battle. It's a
constant.
constant
It is
battle.
a
But
constant battle.
I do train for the battle before I go into the battle with anybody, not just my wife.
Right.
I have developed what I call a stoic pose and face, right? If you say something offensive to me, Miss Pat, I'll just sit here and be like, I'm gonna hit you with that. All right. I'm gonna smile. That's what I've trained myself to do. So that way, when I hear offensive things, I'm already like disengaging that part of me that wants to snap back at you right away. In my mind, I'm going off. But here, I'm like, yeah, let me just take a step back. Or what I'll do is, here's the other mechanism that I use. If you say something really offensive to me, Miss Patty, this has helped me a lot. I'll repeat what you said
That
to
part.
you in slow motion because I'm
Wow.
giving
Mhm.
Break
myself,
it down. You're gonna
yeah, I'm
break it
giving myself
down
time to calm down, but I'm also giving you the opportunity to really hear
Here.
what you
and
just
think
said to me.
about what you said.
So yeah, you
Mhm.
old stupid boys. Okay, so basically, you think that I am a stupid boy. And all I'm doing is I'm buying myself some time, Miss Patty, because I'm trying to calm down. The reason why I'm going so slow is I'm just trying to calm down, and I'm telling myself, bro, you got options. You don't have to
You don't
fight,
have to
retaliate, and
engage.
you don't have to engage. I'm buying myself some time. So
Mhm.
I'm a work in progress, just like we all are.
That's a great strategy, and I'm glad that you were able to develop that stoic face.
Yeah.
I've tried that. I've just given up. I don't have a poker face. So
Yeah.
whatever I'm thinking or saying, anybody, even if you don't know me, you could look
Yeah.
at my face
Yeah.
and tell.
Yeah. And it's hard. And I'm not saying that's the only solution because some of us we won't be able to do it. But again, our reaction though, what we do say and do is within our control. Now, for some people, yeah, their facial expression, yeah, they ain't got no control over that thing. It's just gonna take
I'm that
over.
person.
But what
But
we say
Patty,
and
like
do,
you, yeah, like Patty said, your face is giving it away, but at least you're not popping off at the lips.
you're not
So
popping off.
It's not. I have learned to keep that in. I have
Yeah, yeah,
learned
yeah.
that.
Hey, listen, this is we on the road, Miss Patty. We on the road.
but, but that's the thing is I wrote down here, stay in it long enough to grow. Because we
I
don't
love
all come to the table with these tools
it. Mm-mm.
in our back pocket. We have to
Mm-mm.
get some emotional maturity
Mm-hmm.
in order to get to this spot. And it don't have nothing
Mm-hmm.
to do with age. The
Yeah.
emotional maturity is just something that we all need to be working toward. Uh,
Yeah.
and to your point, when you said that you slow down, I like that example, and you repeat it back to them slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was counseling somebody about that the other day to do something similar to that. But I told them it's two things here. Maybe they did mean to hurt you.
Mm.
And in
Mm-hmm.
that case, you have the choice to disengage and
Mm-hmm.
walk away.
Yep.
Or number two, maybe they didn't mean to hurt you. And
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
they have an opportunity to say, that's not what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry that came out the wrong
Yeah.
way. Because how many times have we said things that didn't come out the right way because,
Right.
we're in the moment. Yeah. But I told him, it's two things here and we can't make people do anything just like Patty just said a minute ago. You can't make nobody do anything. But
No.
what you can do is say, look, and make it known to them that this is the way you received it.
Yep.
This is what I heard you say.
Yep.
Now, if you were trying to hurt me, okay, then I'm stage left. I'm gonna exit stage left because I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
leave you with that because I don't have to deal with any drama. But
Mm-hmm.
in case they didn't, you've given them an opportunity because you've slowed everything down and you've
Yeah.
made everything plain. So they
Yeah.
now have an opportunity. The ball is in their court.
I'll make and that's powerful, Miss Lucy. I'll make this point about you just mentioned tools, right? So this is what came to mind for me. In our marriages, some of us, yeah, we weren't equipped or we were ill-equipped, and now we're with this person. It's me and my wife, and I ain't got these tools, so now I got to go get the tools. But some of us, we did bring some tools. But here's the thing about tools: is along the way we got to sharpen our tools. You got some tools, brother,
Ooh.
but you got to
Mhm.
sharpen your tools. And you have access to a lot of tools, but you need to know which tool to use because there's some work I do at the house. I'm going to use a screwdriver. There's some other work I do at the house. I'm going to have to use a drill. Now, there's some cases I've used a drill for something I should have used a screwdriver for, and it did a whole lot more damage than I wanted it to do. So in
Mm.
our marriages, both men and women, we have
Mhm.
to, number one, have the tools, sharpen the tools, and select the right tools
Select the
for
right tools.
select the right tools. Yeah, yeah. I preached a sermon a while back, and I was saying that silence. So if I'm the kind of person that when I get upset, I get silent. That's my thing. Like silent treatment. That's my go-to. This counselor. This is before I got married, and I told him about that, and he said, "Listen, man, I hear you, but even when you're silent, you're gonna have to give her something." I said, "What that mean, brother? What you mean? If I'm silent, what do I have to give her?" He says, "You're gonna have to let her know, hey, listen, I love you. I'm just taking some time to process." You have to tell her something. You can't just go completely silent on her. And so when I preached
Mm.
a sermon about 6 months ago, I was telling people that here's what God revealed to me. God revealed to me that silence is a tool, but silence can also become a weapon. God was
Mhm.
revealing to me that the duration of your silence, you've used a temporary tool as a permanent solution, and it's going to erode at emotional safety.
Mhm.
Silence is meant for a moment. And what I told the people in our congregation is silence is what I use to calibrate, to regulate, and to meditate. But if my silence goes on for too long, it now becomes silent treatment. And
Mhm.
silent treatment will kill your marriage slowly. Because what silent treatment says to the other person is, you don't want to be around me. I'm not valued. You rejected me. We can't work through this together. If I need you, if I'm in silent treatment mode, I'm saying to my wife, if you need me right now, don't you come over here because I'm in my silent treatment mode. But what if she's
Mhm.
going through a crisis? So she's supposed to what's she supposed to do? She's supposed to delay her crisis and give me time to process because I need 8 to 12 hours. 8 to 12 hours. Now, some things may require time, but what God was teaching me, this is my personal conviction, is listen, brother. The only reason why you keep taking so much time to process is because you think this person was meant to hurt you like the other person did. So you're
Mhm.
preparing for a battle that's never going to take place. You
Mm.
out here training for something that's not coming. That's why you in this silent thing for you out here thinking of different scenarios, and that's not the person you're married to. You out here planning for the person, like the other person hurt you like that. This girl's not like that. So I'm not saying that you don't need any time to process, but God was telling me you don't need that much time to process, bro. You don't, Miss Lucy. I can be silent for 3 days and be perfectly fine and be perfectly fine.
That's what
God
I
was
just
like,
finna ask you. You because the last time I gave my husband the silent treatment, it was 3 days. It was three
Miss
days.
Miss Lucille, I can be in that thing for 3 days and I'm good and I still love you.
See, I
But
can't, I can't do that. It was like, and
yeah,
then with that, what happened with my husband could do that, but I couldn't. Maybe after a day, I'm gonna make you talk to me.
yeah, God
I'm gonna
and
make you
God was
talk to me,
God was
even
like,
if I
"Who?"
have to go to those wounds. I'm gonna make you talk to me.
Don't go
Right?
to the wolves, Pattern. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't let that be your pattern. Don't do it. But
Once
God
upon a
really,
time, once upon a time,
nah,
it
and that's
was,
part
because
of the
I'm like,
process, part of growing.
I want to talk now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make you talk to me,
I'm gonna make you talk.
however, whatever that takes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
definitely not that was the
Yeah,
wrong approach.
yeah.
that was the
And
wrong
she
approach.
respected. It was the wrong approach, but here you are, Miss Patta, admitting to it, and now you can teach other women that hey, that's not the way to do it. I mean, it's one way, but it's a destructive way, and so let's find other ways. Like my wife allowed me time to process, and then God had to come in and be like, "Bro, you doing the most." God was like, "Bro, you doing the most. You telling me you need 3 days to process this, brother? Your computer is not that slow.
Hmm.
It's
And
not that
how
slow."
is she supposed to feel safe in those 3 days?
You know what I'm saying? So God was like, you are using a temporary tool as a permanent solution, and you're turning silence is a tool, but silent treatment is a weapon. I'm not gonna allow you to carry that into the marriage. So that's what God
Hmm.
put on my heart. So now it's like my wife know now, she know that it just don't take that long for me no
You
more.
know,
But God revealed that to me. So
praise
I'm
God
grateful for
that
that.
you were
Yeah.
open to the Holy Spirit, uh,
Yeah. And now I'm
revealing that
passing it
to
to you,
you.
Miss Lucille. You don't need no 3 days. This ain't no resurrection. Come on, Miss
No,
Lucille.
I would never take 3 days. I think that was several years ago that it took me three
Yeah.
days. And
Yeah.
what I learned during that time is that I my husband is my best friend. I wanted to tell him
Yeah.
something. I'd be like, dang, I can't tell him I'm not talking to him right
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
Because I
I'm
was
I'm
definitely using it as a weapon. I
yeah.
meant to use it as a weapon. You did
Mhm.
this, and I'm gonna show you. But
Imma show you.
that is not the right way to do it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
let me ask you something too, because what I thought about is too for the people that are hearing, we got to make room for how people communicate too, because
Mhm.
let me share this with you. My husband is a person who needs time to process.
Mm.
And when we would be having an argument, or I'm bringing something, not we wouldn't be having an argument. I would bring something to him, and look, I can talk in gusts of 200 words a minute,
Mhm.
or whatever. So, because I'm talking real fast, so it's, it's on my head. I'm
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. You did da, 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 da. And he wouldn't come back with anything. I'm used to people
Mhm.
going back and forth, right?
Yeah,
I got a snappy comeback, you got a snappy
yeah,
comeback, and
yep,
we're sparring like this, right? Pop,
yeah,
pop, 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 pop.
yeah.
And he's not that way. He needs time
Mm.
to uh, process what I
Mhm.
have said. But I took that as he didn't care
Mhm.
what I said
Yep,
because he didn't come back right then.
yep,
But I
yep.
had to learn, and what I want y'all to hear, our audience to hear, is that you need to stay in it long enough to grow and learn the person. Grow and
Absolutely.
learn yourself, but also grow and learn the person. Because I could have
Yeah.
checked out way early, because he's not, he's not responding. I would go to work and tell my safe friend. I had a safe friend that she was like a sister to me. We worked together for a number of years, and I said, "You're not gonna believe what Donnie did." And she said, "Well, what did he say?" I don't know. He ain't said nothing. I don't care if he say anything. I just wanted to get off what I had. I wanted to get
Yeah.
mine off.
Yeah.
But what I learned is I have to give him time to process. He does
Mm-hmm.
care.
Mm-hmm.
And when I give him time to process, he can come back with a response. So what I mean by that is if I know I have a difficult conversation that we need to have and I need some feedback from him, I'll say, "Hey, I need to discuss this with you. Uh, let's get together in a couple of days and have
Mm-hmm.
that conversation." Or
Mm-hmm.
I may say something about because he had a lot of downtime to think about stuff at work. And I'd say, "Hey, while you're at work today or something like that, can you think about this? And then, we'll come together in a couple of days." And he'd say,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah." And he definitely would think about it. And he would come to me. He'd say,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, I've thought about such and such, and this is what I think we should do."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
got a lot better results that way
Yes.
than just popping out like the boogeyman with
Yeah.
this is what we got. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I need your response right now.
Yeah.
Because he's not
Because
built
you're
that
not
way.
you're not trying to turn him into you.
Exactly. I was
Yeah. You're not
trying,
trying to turn him into you.
but it don't
Yeah.
work.
It doesn't work.
That don't
Yeah.
work.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's
And if
it
it was
it
two of me, what
y'all
what we
be
talking
pop,
about?
pop, 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 all the time. All the time. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need
And
that.
that's
We
the
need that
beauty.
contrast.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly.
So,
So it's interesting you said that because sometimes my husband and I we now laugh because I was always a little bit more reserved than him, but now sometimes it's switched. So we laugh. He's like, "Oh my God, you turned into me, and I've turned into you." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what has happened? And one thing too, like when we talk about arguing and popping off and needing to give that person that space, for me and for us, when we do have those arguments or disagreements, I always think, do I want to end? Is this the last thing that I
Mm,
want? If something happens, is this the
yeah.
last memory that I want for us?
mhm.
Yeah.
And as we become more seasoned, we do appreciate and understand better that time is not promised
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
us, period.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now it's like this is not how I want things to end should anything happen to either one of us
Yeah.
in that moment. I don't want this to be our last memory.
Yeah.
So that kind of speeds up our process. And sometimes we come back and it's like it's funny, we laugh about it. It's like we were arguing and then it's like, oh, it's not that important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where before it would take 3 days, it would take 5 days. Because he could probably go back in the day, he could probably do a week without speaking.
Yeah. And listen, let me tell you something. And when I tell you I'm cruising in that 3-day week, Miss Pat, I'm good. I'm I am
Yeah, I
I
get it.
am preparing for what look, I'm thinking of different scenarios. If you say this, I'm gonna hit you with this, then I'm gonna hit you with that. But I'm loaded, but I'm locked and loaded. And God was like, nah, bro, that's not how it works. I like the point that you bring up about our last moments, because no matter our age, no matter our stage, nobody knows, right?
You
And so
never
there's
know.
this video that haunts me. I feel like it's an old R&B video where like him and his girl, they get into an argument, and then homeboy runs out and then he gets hit by a bus. And like that video haunts me because I'm like, what if me and my wife, we get into an argument or whatever, and then and I have to be, or I have to do the eulogy, or she has to do the eulogy, and that's the part that sticks with me. Like, because you want to
Mhm.
remember, what's the last thing y'all did together? What's the last thing you said to her? What if the last thing I said to her was something hurtful, denigrating?
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, that's how that to me, it's like that's a good perspective to watch your mouth, man. Watch your mouth, brother. Watch your mouth and watch your actions, because I want my legacy to be that I cared for her, that I served her, with my words, with my actions, with my intentionality. So yeah, thank you for reminding me of that again, Miss Pata, because
Mhm.
and it's not morbid. It
You're
speeds up
welcome.
our process.
I mean, it's fact. It's
Yeah,
fact.
yeah,
Yeah.
It is. It is.
yeah.
Because and really, when you put everything into the perspective of eternity, some of the
Hmm.
things that would even lower the bar on some of the things that we think are so important.
Oh
because
yeah,
we're thinking about it on this side of eternity, but on the other
yeah,
side of eternity,
Mhm.
it's like, you know what, brother, don't make up your bed. Okay, it's all right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
You done left dishes in the sink after I done
yeah,
cleaned it.
yeah,
Okay, it's all right.
yeah,
I really don't like it, but okay.
yeah,
If that was the last conversation we had to have, that would be
yeah.
terrible. But
And then the other thing, Miss
Absolutely.
Lucille, some
yeah.
conversations like men need to have them with other men, other believing men who
Mhm.
can speak, who can point them in the right direction, right? So like for me, it's like, man, I might need another man to be like, hey, bro, you need to be more tidy. Cause that's actually a reflection of your character. Like when my wife say it, I might be like, oh, yeah, that's what the girls say. But then when another man be like, hey, let me tell you something, bro. As men, we need to be disciplined. Like me and some friends of mine, we lead a men's group called Iron, and the whole aspect of it is integrity, respect, ownership, and next. And so now when I have a conversation with men about discipline, discipline is not just, oh, you wake up and you go to the gym. Discipline is, bro, you wash some dishes because we want to keep the house clean. Discipline is
Mhm.
if you're the one that got up last, you fix that bed. But some things just resonate differently when they come
Well,
from
it's
a
coming
man
come
to a
from a
man.
man.
The same way with the women. Some things just
Mhm.
Yeah.
resonate differently when it comes from a woman to a woman, right? So that's why I think, in addition to, of course, having that friendship with our spouse, we need to have some
Mhm.
healthy friendships with Bible believing people who are
Mhm.
committed to walking together so that way they can pour into us as well because they offer us different perspectives because sometimes we be tripping
Oh
because we
yeah.
be in our own little worlds and our own perspectives and we think just it's not that big of a deal and then you go talk to somebody else and they're like, hey brother, tighten up. It's like,
Yeah.
all right.
And Pat and I were just talking about that the other day, is having that safe space relationship outside of your
Yeah,
marriage that you can go to, somebody that's for your marriage,
absolutely.
not somebody that's gonna say, hey, you ain't got to put up with that, come on, you can
Mm-mm,
get out.
nah,
Or you
yeah,
say like somebody, a male that's holding you accountable, that's saying, well,
absolutely.
man, wait a minute, let's think about this the right way, let's think
Ab-
about it differently or whatever.
absolutely.
So I tell you what, this has been such an encouraging and practical conversation. I want to invite Pata in to do her wellness minute.
Well, today's conversation reminds us that emotional safety is not just important for communication, it's important for our overall wellness. So, Ralph, can you tell our audience, like, what's one healthy habit couples can begin practicing together to strengthen both their emotional health, their physical health, because everything we're connected.
Mhm.
So if you're not in an emotional safe place, that's bound to affect your physical being.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
what can a lot of times we exercise separately, and that's fine, but just what's one thing that couples can do to promote the healthy physical well-being that will feed that emotional safe space?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you mentioned working out together. That's a good thing for sure. So sometimes couples are not able to do that. But if you're not able to do it, I think nutrition is something that you can focus on. Like maybe
Mhm,
one goal around, we're going to take in more water together and we're going to hold each other accountable. Maybe,
mhm,
maybe you can tie in both. Like, hey, you know what? Every week, every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, we're gonna take a walk together. And while we
mhm,
walk, we're not only doing something that's good for the body, but we're also having conversations, right? We go on a little walk together and we talk, and the wind is blowing, and the muscle, the blood is flowing, but we're also
mhm,
releasing stress. So I think that's a healthy habit. I think couples should make it a habit to check in with each other at least once a
mhm.
week. Just have a
Okay.
conversation where nobody else is around. Maybe it's in your bedroom, maybe it's in your living room, maybe it's in your dining room, but just to check in. Hey, how did I show up for you this week? How can I show up for you differently? What is something that I did this week that was impactful for you? What is something that I did this week that that made you uncomfortable? And then the best thing you can do is sit and listen and not be ready to retaliate and judge because you don't know the impact of your actions. They're about to tell you. And sometimes the impact is wonderful. One of the things that
Mhm,
my wife and I we used to do is we would do this thing called a love tank check. I think I got it from the one of the conferences from the 5 love languages. And what I would
mhm.
do is I would ask her, "Hey babe, how's your love tank? Give me a number from 1 to 10." And one time, Miss Patta, out of nowhere, this girl said 6. I was like, And then I said, 6? What you mean 6? Because in my mind, I'm like, I've been loving you. I'm a lover boy. You know I love you. What do you mean by 6? And then she explained it to me. I was like, okay. And then I reflected on what I did. I was like, ooh, I was about to take away her emotional safety. Because when I ask her,
Mm,
what do you mean by 6? I'm telling her if she ever feels like it's a 6, she shouldn't say it out loud. And I apologize to her. I said, babe, I
okay.
apologize because I want you to always let me know if you feel like, this week your love tank was on a 6 because I didn't set quality time for you and acts of service was low. I want you to be able to tell me that and
Mhm.
and not feel like if it's not at an 8 or a 9, then you can't vocalize it. So
Gotcha.
now it's like if I ask that question, even if she would have said 3, the rule is I can't panic, I can't freak out, I can't be like, "What you mean 3?" No, just I just take it in, and then the follow up is okay. You were at a 6, babe. How can I get you to a 7?
That's
Not
where I,
not
mhm.
not some from 6 to 9 and 6 to 10. No,
Okay.
no, no. Like what's one thing I could do to get you to a 7? So that's on the
Gotcha.
emotional safety and the mental piece. And then on the fitness piece, yeah, go out on walks together.
Okay.
Commit to cooking. Like there's things we can combine the two of them. This week, once a week, we're gonna cook a healthy meal together,
Okay.
right? So that way it's something we're talking, we're having conversation, but we're also bettering ourselves mentally and physically as well. Just that togetherness and that unity. Don't stray away from it. Have those conversations and then make those connections both physically and emotionally as well.
Love it. Love it. So you heard it. So, audience, so this week we want you to practice one simple habit. Pause before you respond.
Hmm.
Take one breath, soften your tone. Ask yourself, am I reacting from fear or responding from love? Because stronger marriages are built in the small daily choices where both people feel seen, heard, valued, and safe. And when couples feel safe, love has room to grow stronger and deeper. Create that emotional safety for your significant other.
I
Love
love
it.
that. I love that, Pata. Thank you. So, Ralph, before we wrap up, I have just one final question.
Okay.
What's the biggest takeaway that you'd like for our listeners to remember from today's conversation?
Yeah. Man, I just want them to remember, I believe it's Mark 10, verse 9. What God has joined together, let no one put asunder. Um, and I really want people to remember that your marriage is a covenant. Marriage is God's idea. This person loving you doesn't always mean telling you what you want to hear. Loving you sometimes is going to be correction. And so sometimes part of that love is my wife is going to tell me something that I don't want to hear, but I need to hear. Sometimes that love is she's gonna say something that I didn't expect, but it's something that I needed in that moment, right? So just because we have friction doesn't mean that things are heading in the wrong direction because we can figure it out. We can understand each other's perspectives and we can step into each other's worlds and we are committed to doing this thing forever. So I would tell people just remember that your marriage is God's idea and what God has joined together, let no one on heaven, on earth, no one above or below put asunder. That's my takeaway.
I love that. I love that.
Right.
So we like to have this heart to heart challenge at the end, and we want to give our couples uh, something really practical. They can write it down, whatever. Give me a meaningful question that you'd encourage couples to ask each other this week to begin building that, um, building up greater emotional safety.
Yeah. I think I would say, hey, how can I show up for you in a meaningful way this week?
How can I show up for you in
Yeah.
a meaningful way
Yeah.
this week?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sunday night. Ask that thing on a Sunday night and going into the week, like, hey, listen, sir, ma'am, my rib, my partner, my covenant, but whatever you want to call it. How
Uh-huh.
can I show up for you in a meaningful way this week? Because what that does is it opens up the door for them to tell you what they need instead of you
Mm,
guessing and assuming what their needs are. how can I show up for you in a meaningful way this week? Not this year, not this month, just this week.
This week.
This
Just
week.
this week.
And I'm gonna work on it and I'm gonna do it. And then we gonna check on that love tank.
All right. I love that baby steps. And I
I
wrote
love
that
that.
down.
Yeah.
I wrote
I
that
love
down, the
that.
love tank from
Yeah.
1 to
Yeah.
10. Because we
Yeah.
might think we doing everything in our power. And then, like, what? It's at a
Yeah.
6. Okay.
What you mean
But a lot of
six?
times it's just these little things that we build. It's the little things, just like you said, Ralph. Ask this question every Sunday. It's a simple
Mhm.
question. I
Yeah.
mean, but it could have like lasting effects in
Yeah.
making that foundation stronger.
Yeah.
I think it
Because
would have
they
great
could feel
impact.
empty. They could feel empty, and that question is gonna be the way that you begin to fill their cup. Or they can be full and they'll tell you, you know what? Listen, girl, you've been doing a great job showing up for me. What you did last week, just do it again this week.
Yeah.
But we recognize where the gaps exist, and also we recognize the areas where we can be celebrated.
I love that. I love
Absolutely.
that. Absolutely. So tell us about what you want to share with how our audience could connect with you. I know you do leadership coaching and consulting,
Yeah.
your marriage ministry. You got any speaking engagements? What do you want to share with the people?
Yeah, so I do have some speaking engagements coming up. I'll be doing a leadership workshop with the credit union that actually used to work for. So super excited for that. And then in August, I'll be in Atlanta for it's called the AACUC, African American Credit Union Coalition Conference, speaking there and hosting one of their galas as well. So super excited for that. But those of you that want to learn more on the leadership development end, I highly recommend that you go to my website, rjpspeaks.com, or you can find me on IG. It's RJP. So basically my initials, RJP Speaks. And I drop leadership tips, best practices on there frequently. And yeah, just looking forward to just helping leaders. And I love marriages. I love talking about marriages, but one of the callings that God has placed on my heart is to equip leaders to, what I say is, to care, to coach, to appreciate, to redirect, and to elevate. So if you're looking to get more information on that, go to my website, rjpspeaks.com. And if you're looking to get some help with public speaking tips and how to become a speaker that's dynamic, you can also go to my website, rjpspeaks.com.
Love that.
Thank
rjpspeaks.com.
you.
And I will definitely also have the link to your website and your IG in the show notes. So, Ralph, thank you for reminding us that emotional safety isn't built in a single conversation.
Mm-mm.
It's built through countless moments of choosing respect, empathy, honesty, and grace. One thing I love about today's conversation is that you've shown us that emotional safety doesn't mean that we'll never disagree. It means we've created a relationship where both husband and wife know they can be honest. There's that word again, vulnerable and fully
Mm-hmm.
themselves without fear of rejection and condemnation. When emotional safety is present, communication becomes more meaningful. Trust grows deeper and love has room to flourish. Thank you for equipping us with practical tools that every couple can begin using today to build stronger, healthier marriages. So, if today's conversation encouraged you, please like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone you care about. You never know. One real conversation could strengthen a marriage, restore hope, or change a family's future. So, remember, stronger marriages don't just happen, they're built through intentional conversations, intentional choices, and intentional love. So this week, have that heart to heart conversation. Choose empathy over assumptions. Choose understanding over defensiveness. Choose each other again. Until next time, I'm Lucille Reddic, and this has been the Stronger, Deeper Marriage Show, where we believe real conversations stronger marriages. God bless.
God bless.
God
God
bless you.
bless.